Whenever I'm trying to decide what show I'm going to pick up next, one of the most important factors to me is the premise. Of course, there are a bunch of other reasons I'd start a show, but in general, the premise is what initially draws me in. So when I came across an anime called Death Parade, I was instantly hooked. Because of that, we're going to go ahead and make this simple. If you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, then stop this video right now and go watch it. Simple as that. But for those of you that are still here, today, under the scope, I take a look at Death Parade, an intriguing show that I definitely had high hopes for going in. After their death, people are either reincarnated or sent to the void. In order to decide who goes where, arbiters pit them against each other in a game in which they wager their lives and reveal their true natures. The arbiter then determines who wins and loses, and more importantly, who gets reincarnated and who goes to the void. The games range anywhere from darts to billiards to even air hockey, and each one comes with a surprising twist. The two participants, who don't remember anything about their deaths, think they'll die if they lose, and so naturally, their true selves come out.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Death Parade demonstrates how the way people present themselves to the outside world and their true nature don't always match up. You may be a nice, caring person now, but can you say for sure that you would be the same if your life was on the line? Death Parade plays off that uncertainty beautifully. Even with the memories of the participants and their true natures displayed in the game, the arbiters, however, are still not perfect judges. With very little time to understand each person, mistakes can and will be made. The arbiters never have been nor never will be human, so they cannot hope to have any first-hand notion of life and death. The fact that the arbiters and the system of judging is by no means infallible really adds to the suspense and tension. Also, the arbiter's goal is to draw out the darkness in people's souls, but is this really how people should be judged? I mean, push past their limits, I would say most people would do things they wouldn't normally do. Are they drawing the darkness out, or are they creating it? The system is flawed, and that just adds to the intrigue. How is it okay for a flawed system such as this to make such a critical decision? I love it when anime delves into deeper psychological territory that makes me think, because it doesn't happen that often. At first, I thought Death Parade might turn out to be a completely episodic show, however there is an overarching plot. While many of the episodes focus on a specific judgment, there are some that focus on the arbiters outside of the judgments, and also the judgments themselves give us a great deal of development and insight into the main characters and their world. All in all, we're left with a compelling, character-driven overarching plotline to go along with the episodic judgments. And I must say, Death Parade does a damn good job of making this balance work. If I had to find a complaint with the story, it'd have to be the slower middle. The show starts off strong and has a very satisfying ending, but it kind of bogs down significantly around the halfway point. The high stakes and suspense aren't as great as it was in the beginning and end, but seriously though, if you're stuck on episode 6 or 7, please do yourself a favor and power through, because episodes 8 and 9 are just fantastic. Seriously great stuff. Overall, Death Parade is a very character-driven story that brings up several questions of morality, human nature, and regret that are sure to make you think, I promise. As a show about human nature and people after death, it makes sense that Death Parade is so character-driven. The individual sets of characters that see judgments are developed exceedingly well. Seeing as how we only see them for one episode each generally, I was surprised at the level of attachment I felt towards each one, and the rush of emotion that came with the reveal of their judgments. I also found it pretty entertaining to try to guess what their judgments would be along the way and see if you could figure out how the story was going to play out for each episode. The main story focuses on the arbiter Dekim and his mysterious assistant with no name as they carry out judgments in his bar, the Quinn Dekim. Throughout the judgments, and as a result of the ultimate decisions that Dekim makes, both grow immensely as characters, and we learn more and more about them as the show progresses. Outside of Dekim and his assistant, there is a much larger supporting cast consisting of the other arbiters and members of the world. While I definitely found some of them intriguing, like the head arbiter Nona, who's got her shit together by the way, and Dekim's rival of sorts Ginty, the show never really expanded on them. It would have been nice to get a deeper glimpse into the other inhabitants of this world, as well as further explore a brewing conflict that was barely introduced by the time the show ended. That being said, Death Parade overall handles its characters well, especially the two mainstays, whose story had me itching to know what would come next. Man, this show is pretty. Madhouse, you've outdone yourself this time. I mean, seriously, the art style fits perfectly as dark shades permeate almost every frame, lending it that ominous vibe. The animation conveys the mood to a T, and I love the style. The character designs are consistent, and the range of emotions they go through really shine through in the animation. Seriously, somebody give Madhouse some kind of award, cause this is awesome. This is how it's done right here. The soundtrack is all around very solid. There are a few memorable tracks that really stuck out to me, namely Memento Mori and Moonlit Night. The music, like the animation, did an excellent job conveying the tone and mood of the events on screen, and not just during the high-intensity moments either. The opening and ending songs are both absolutely brilliant, but could not be more opposite. The opening is freaking awesome in a "this is so ironically different from the show, allow me to break out and dance" kind of way. If it doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. The ending, on the other hand, executes a much darker tone. It really matches the often unhappy and tense results of each episode perfectly. For Death Parade, I really can't come up with any complaints for either the animation or the sound. To put it simply, they're just great. So, did Death Parade live up to the hopes that I had after seeing its premise? Well, yes, and then some. The story was great from both an episodic and overarching standpoint. Going in, I didn't really know what to expect, or if there even would be any semblance of a plot outside the judgments, so I was pleasantly surprised. An important part of episodic shows to me is the development of those characters we only get to see for 1 or 2 episodes, and Death Parade did this brilliantly, making me attached to each one and keeping the suspense high throughout. While the supporting cast could have definitely been fleshed out more, the 2 leads saw immeasurable growth by the end, and I found myself deeply invested in them. This is a story about its 2 main characters, so the fact that Death Parade executes their character development so well makes it work. The ending was perfectly satisfying in such a way that it left room for a continuation, but wrapped up the main character's storyline, so that one's not necessary, and honestly, I don't think there should be. Death Parade offers plenty of intriguing questions on human nature and regret to mull over, often to a very emotional and heartbreaking degree. So with that, I award Death Parade an approval rating of Watch, with a serious recommendation to do so, and an overall score of 4.5 creepy void masks out of 5. It really is a show you don't want to miss. By the way, if you haven't seen the 2013 OVA Death Billiards, of which the anime series spawned from, I highly suggest you do so. It has the same characters and everything, so if you do watch it, I'd say give it a go sometime between episodes 2 and 7, and you'll be fine. If you're looking for something similar to Death Parade, then I point you towards the similarly named Death Note for its common themes on divine judgment and morality, only in a very, very different way. Not to mention the fact that Kita totally makes a cameo appearance.
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
And for my second recommendation, I'm going to go a little out in left field with this one, but bear with me. Angel Beats. They both focus on regret after death and the value of life, with Death Parade obviously being a whole lot darker, but those 2 main themes are common throughout. That's all for me. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and leave a like. If you have any questions regarding Death Parade or just want to give your opinion, please do so in the comments below and I'll be happy to respond. See you next time.